social entrepreneur. It was in 2012 when he started his first company when he was studying engineering by selling solar panel and lead acid batteries for urban solar installations. Fast forward, from 2012 to 2016, he had started and failed to scale at 7 different companies, some alone and some with his friends. Then he went on to start a social venture, foodmario.com. By end of 2017, to connect home-based cooks and cloud kitchen cooks with customers and the market. But this was not it. He wanted to lead a larger mission and make a greater change. That's why he decided to join the leadership team of Hamrobazar in 2020 and is now leading Hamrobazar to the refined journey as the Chief Executive Officer. Let's put our hands together for Mr. ROHIT TIWARI.
Thank you, Kavi, for making this happen. And we're glad that we're part of Next Growth Conclave. Me personally, I've been part of Next Growth Conclave for years and years. It's my 4th time being in Next Growth Conclave. Previously, the first time I remember being in Next Growth Conclave was with Food Mario. We had a stall for Food Mario Next Growth Conclave, and looking back, we have come a long way. At the same time, I would want to thank Prabal, Pranay, Pranav for creating something like Hamrobazar. In the times when very few people actually knew the potential of online commerce. The journey of them, they started in 2005. It's hard to imagine I was in class 9th and 14-year-old. So you can just imagine how the legacy of Hamrobazar, how long the legacy is. I would connect this particular Hamrobazar era to a time when the revolution with hardware was happening. And I just was listening to Prabal, and Prabal said that he went to a Neurode Kopasal and he wanted to sell his mobile phone. And this is where the hardware revolution was coming in, and a small challenge that he personally experienced with selling that particular product on a market without online commerce, he converted this into a business. Eventually, after 16 years, now we know how big Hamrobazar is. For me personally, if I look at Hamrobazar is for me growing up in an era of comic books, something like Hulk. It has strength, but deep inside it's very peaceful. A lot of people didn't know about the founders when they founded Hamrobazar. For many years and years, people just thought this company was maybe autonomously running, maybe who was running this company. Very few people, handpicked people knew about it. But the strength of Hamrobazar was nothing less than that of Hulk. I've been a Hamrobazar user for almost a decade. In late 2000s, when I was introduced to Hamrobazar, I could just feel that this particular company is something that this market actually needed. Not just Nepal, but entire. If you look at global markets, a lot of companies have come out of similar problems and have solved problems for a lot of people. This connects to me more because then again, as I said, this is something that we grew up with. So this comes from an era when the pop culture was there. I went through Hamrobazar, previously introduced categories. I saw Hindi videos were introduced within Hamrobazar. The time when CDs and things like that were exchanged and rented out. And we, in late 2000s, somehow had this glimpse. Although we had very limited idea about this company or who founded this, even if we Googled something, even if we had to look for a laptop or let's say a phone, or we have to sell something, it would just show up on a Google search engine, and we would go inside the company. We wouldn't figure out what we are going through, but we would find a solution within the company. This particular thing, I was very impressed by what Hamrobazar has been till now. It's very simple. If you have used Hamrobazar, it's very different to any other online commerce if you go through. If you enter any online commerce in Nepal or beyond, it somehow feels like the entire online commerce would want you to they would want you to divert to a path, to a product. A lot of offers would flash in. You would want to grab out that 30% of the offer, 15% offer, 18%, 80% offer. And somehow Hamrobazar evolved differently. It evolved with utility. A lot of new categories were introduced in Hamrobazar, but the entire functionalities of Hamrobazar were very limitedly but utility-wise introduced. So it did become a technology which I never heard that it crashed or it had problems or anything as such. It had a tremendous traffic coming into it every single day. A lot of thousands of people would want to sell something on Hamrobazar every single day, and yet this simple technology would work flawlessly. With Hamrobazar, then again, this particular picture makes so much sense because it has seen that happen in the last 16 years, the kind of evolution that you can see in the picture. There were phone, I still go through Hamrobazar, different categories. There are camcorders, there are reels still available for the cameras. The kind of stuff that we know that existed, there are floppy disks around that people sell. It has seen that particular evolution of technology within it. And it did evolve. It did evolve with the categories. It did evolve with the different services introduced within Hamrobazar. So it has this 16 years of history of knowing how technology actually evolved, how the real estate evolved in Nepal, how the automobile industry evolved in Nepal, electronics, beat. There are 22 different categories that Hamrobazar serves today. But even after all of this that was there, we have so much of traffic. We have everything is there. A lot of people post to sell on Hamrobazar every single day. This all bundled up to something that was very meaningful. Slowly the traffic was growing. If you look at traffic that was 5 years back, if you look at the traffic, the kind of people how they have figured out to use Hamrobazar eventually. We see 1.5 million page views per day on Hamrobazar today. This should be the highest I've heard, at least, of any company, a Nepali company in Nepal. The millions of users who visit Hamrobazar to buy, to search, to sell every month, and this 20 minutes lab, people spend so much time on Hamrobazar browsing things, looking for things. Decisions like buying a home takes hours and months of searching around. With 22,000 real estate listed on Hamrobazar, people do spend a lot of time just to be sure that they're getting the best deal out of it. They look for great deals on Hamrobazar. And all of this combined for not just 1 year, it has been 16 years how Hamrobazar has always remained the #1 marketplace in Nepal. But even after this, we all knew that there was something that we needed to do with Hamrobazar. As I came into Hamrobazar, we had a lot of group discussions, and we figured out that we need to reach out to thousands and thousands of people who have been using Hamrobazar and ask them for feedbacks, how they have been using Hamrobazar, if they would want to have new features on Hamrobazar. We would never want to change Hamrobazar because it was already working flawlessly. It had the traffic, it had the traction that it needed, it had all the categories, all the listings that any other commerce would want to have. So we reached out to more than 5,000 sellers of Hamrobazar. We called them every single day. We reached out to them, we asked them about what kind of change they would want on Hamrobazar if we needed to update it. Not a change, I would say, if we just wanted to add features on Hamrobazar, we would want to keep Hamrobazar as it is. But if we needed to introduce something new, what are the things they would want to have? And after talking to more than 5,000 users of Hamrobazar who have been selling on Hamrobazar actively, and having a lot of discussion around with the tech community, be it design community, be it a lot of different businesses, we knew somehow that few features needed to be introduced to something that was already working so well. So yeah, we did. So we started with introducing a new logo for Hamrobazar. After we introduced the logo, a lot of people asked us the meaning behind this logo and the story behind this logo. If you look at previous existing Hamrobazar's logo and the Hamrobazar that we're going to release, its logo is very similar. I had a conversation with Prabal Dai around why he had those 3 lines on the O. And he said these were the 3 important verticals they thought are going to be big when they thought of Hamrobazar. And we carried on those 3 to the new logo of Hamrobazar as well. At the same time, the new logo would resemble a lot of things, maybe a search, maybe just looking good. We can make a lot of meanings out of it. This is what we are going to be releasing today. It's a beta version of Hamrobazar, Hamrobazar beta, where you can browse through new Hamrobazar. You can go through the categories. We have tried to keep almost everything, the user interactions, as people do on existing Hamrobazar as it is. You can see slightly, if you in the picture, we have kept the design essence the same as well. It's just cleaner. And we did a lot of research with a lot of UI UX community people, with the team, with the tech team. And the discussion would always come around saying that Hamrobazar already works. It works flawlessly. People navigate through Hamrobazar without even realizing they've been spending 20, 30, 1 hour, 2 hour, and they would do it without any complaint. They have been habituated with the kind of filters, with the kind of attributes, with the kind of facilities that Hamrobazar has been providing till date. So we wanted to keep that intact. We wanted that to come along with the new beta version of Hamrobazar. So it's going to be cleaner, but functionality-wise, we have just introduced upgrade to Hamrobazar with few features. It's going to be the same. It is going to have the same category slot on the left side. It's going to have the similar top searches categories there. Everything is just little easier, I would say, to begin with. But then it's a better version, and it's going to evolve eventually. The other thing that we have introduced after calling so many people is in-app messaging. So finally, after thousands of people requesting for this, people can message the sellers after signing up to Hamrobazar within the platform. They don't need to go out of it. They don't need to share their Viber number or their phone number or their privacy. They can just have a conversation, they can negotiate, they can make a deal, and finally, if they want to make a purchase, they can ask for a number and make a deal out of it. The other thing that we have introduced is new notification section. So realizing the fact where a lot of notification in Hamrobazar today come in emails, a lot of people wanted an easy notification panel where people would know if someone has made a comment on the ads posted, if someone has replied on the comments, if a new message has come in. So this notification section would enable people to easily navigate through Hamrobazar's interactions. The other thing that we have introduced, again, by calling so many sellers and buyers, is sellers rating. It isn't a product rating right now. It's a sellers rating because Hamrobazar has evolved in a trust. It's a community product. It has become that community that needs something like rating, where people would know before making a contact or before having a negotiation that what kind of rating the seller has. This particular thing would be evolved eventually. For now, it's a simple rating, but then again, this would just make the buying process or negotiation process much, much easier. The other thing that we have introduced is, again, privacy is one of our biggest thing that we look forward to. Hamrobazar already had this. As I said, the particular technology, as the founders of Hamrobazar evolved, in 16 years, they had almost everything there. And utility-wise, it was working well. All we have done is made it easier, so people can now turn off their phone numbers as they want to, turn on their phone numbers as they want to, if they want the phone numbers to be displayed on the user side. At the same time, what we have introduced, the other thing is location privacy as well. So while you post something on Hamrobazar, you don't want to pinpoint your home's address, you can just enable this. So this will create a circumference around the point, assuring that the particular home location is not, or the particular location pointed is not disclosed, and around area of 200 meters is set. So the person a person who is about to buy something would know the area of it, but wouldn't know the pinpoint location. These are the few features, the only features that we have added to beta version of Hamrobazar. All the features are still on evolution. We'll be monitoring the kind of interactions within Hamrobazar within the particular features introduced. So all of this work, it took us months and months to work on how we would want to evolve the design of Hamrobazar, what it is today to what it is gonna be now in a better version, and eventually as the Hamrobazar. The process was that millions of people have used it already, millions of people use it today, and millions are going to use it tomorrow. So the evolution should not be, the first phase of Hamrobazar should be exactly as what Hamrobazar was before, is now. Only the design has to be cleaner, few of the features have to be introduced that we're going to test. But the most exciting part, I would say, of all of this, although even keeping the same UI UX intact and bringing it to life was exciting, and again, definitely difficult because 16 years of work had to be converted into something like Beta Hamrobazar that you'll see in a while on your phones. We just imagining a future with Hamrobazar now. So phase one is this. So what we imagine that can come in future with Hamrobazar? There are a lot of brainstorming discussions that we had around this. We have the traffic, we have people listing on Hamrobazar every single day. There are thousands and thousands of products. We need to find different ways to reach out to more users and make it convenient for them to use Hamrobazar. The convenience for now is scrolling through Hamrobazar, going to different pages. Now with new, better version of Hamrobazar might be an infinite scroll. But in days to come, maybe, just maybe, we would want to navigate commerce through maps. Maybe would be a time when we would want to see Kathmandu or entire Nepal mapped in heat maps, where if you want to navigate through real estate, you would know where the prices are going high, where the prices are being dropped. So purchase decision for you might be easier. Maybe the time has come. We see how Instagram has been evolving. Marketplace has been evolving within Facebook. Instagram shop has been evolving. So maybe social commerce is the future, maybe. It's just an imagination, but then again, it's an exciting thing to know. Would you want to know your seller? Would you want to be connected to your seller? Or if you are planning a home, would you want to follow real estate sellers on Hamrobazar, knowing that you're going to make a purchase in the next 2 years? So you would want to know which are the prices, where are the best rates, who are the best sellers. If you are a gazette guy, you would want to follow a gazette provider. And maybe just knowing your seller just makes it easier for you to have that trust and make that purchase decision easier and faster. Something like escrow service for users. A lot of people call Hamrobazar every single day asking that there's a person in Chitwan who wants to sell this mobile phone for this price. How should I transfer the money? The point is that we don't in between interfere among the communication between the customers and buyers. But then again, just providing a easier, safer service for people if they want to make a decision to make a purchase might just be a future for Hamrobazar as well. But overall, if we look at Hamrobazar, what it has been, as Prabal said earlier, it started with his one challenge that he faced on how he would want to sell a mobile phone when he went to a new road shop. A lot of people have adopted that, and eventually millions of people have benefited to this. I'm sure Prabal has a lot of stories. He did say a lot of stories about how people have been using Hamrobazar and how they wanted to connect to Hamrobazar. In fact, the donation thing that he said. A lot of lives have changed through Hamrobazar. When we called 5,000 people, we could realize the kind of effort the founders had put in to make sure that every small detail had to be taken care of. And these millions of lives do make what Hamrobazar is today. So we're going to continue that goal, and we'll have this goal for Hamrobazar in future as well, where we would want to support the small SMEs, the small Nurut Kutisiano Pasal, who has been selling through Hamrobazar for last 10 years, for last 5 years. Someone who doesn't even have a shop but has maybe a godown of things, maybe a importer of small watches, can be a small fashion store or a small company that is looking for a traffic or traction. We're going to focus on making sure that in days to come, in years to come, Hamrobazar is going to make sure all these small companies are going to be digitalized. So we're going to work towards it. Hamrobazar has been working towards it, and we're going to work towards it. So finally, I would want to end this with the URL. So finally, the beta is released. We have worked a lot towards it. And I wouldn't forget to thank my team again. The team has put in a lot of effort. I would say it would be very difficult to justify an effort of 16 years to be converted into something like Hamrobazar in such a short span of time. But then again, we have put in a lot of effort. I would want to thank my entire team, Rashna, Pinky, Akriti, everyone, who have called so many people, gotten the feedback from them, and finally we could introduce new features. I would want to thank our tech team, Somanji, Kausalji, all the developers who he led, and the entire team of iOS developer, Android developers, and everyone, the designers especially, because to keep the essence of Hamrobazar how it is now, and how it is going to be now, was the most important and difficult part for them. They have spent nights and days, slept in office, on floor, on sofas, and made this happen. I'm very sure when you try this Hamrobazar, do provide us feedback. You might find a lot of bugs, so do report them. And we'll eventually, in weeks to come, we're gonna release the Android and iOS app as well. So be ready for that as well. And yeah, this is it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me. And yeah, thank you.